On to this now. Former Eskom CEO Matshela Koko is no stranger to controversy. As CEO, you'll remember that he refused to leave office quietly. He resigned, nonetheless, as the head of Generation in 2018 after months of lobbying that he basically resigns. At the time, he was facing 4 charges, including misleading Parliament about the McKinsey/Trillion contract. Now, the leaking of confidential information, Eskom information that is, to a Gupta associate and accepting flights to Dubai from a Gupta ally. Well, Koko has vowed to clear his name and is in the process of placing, or should I say, is in the process which placed President Cyril Ramaphosa in the firing line, accusing him of instigating his dismissal. He says that this was unlawful. He's now going after the detractors, I should say, and filing for defamation lawsuits against anyone who has slandered his name. Now, the former group CEO of Eskom is here with me in studio to discuss this and lots of other matters. Mr. Koko, thank you very much for making the time to talk to us. Firstly, let's start with the 500,000 lawsuit against a primary school principal. Her name is Barbara Tanton. Do you know her personally?
No, I don't.
Was this person basically picked randomly amongst a number of people who would have made defamatory statements about you on social media?
It's been 5 years now. I've been called names. I've been ridiculed. I've been called a criminal. I've been called corrupt. And none of those people who call me corrupt, I mean, some even say I lied on TV. You know, when we went to Parliament and the parliamentarian says to me, Mr. Koko, you lied on TV. I said to the advocate, hang on, put the video there where you say I lied on TV. Show me where the lie is. And after that, the parliamentarians looked at it and says, Mr. Koko did not lie. We went to the Zondo Commission. The same audio did not even come. The statements are very clear. Mr. Koko did not lie. Now, it cannot be that people go on with impunity and say I've lied on TV. If you say I've lied on TV, you'll end up in court. You'll show the court, you'll show the judge where is the lie.
Let me challenge you a bit on that
Yes.
television element. I
Yes.
think many of the people in South Africa who watch a television program called Carte Blanche,
Yes.
that is where it is alleged
Yes.
that
Yes.
you did make a statement, or you did, in a way, look as though you were confused about a certain signature of yours
Yes.
that was contained in a document which authorized
Yes.
a certain amount of money
Yes.
to be prepaid
Yes.
to
Yes.
a Gupta company.
Yes.
And after some toing and froing between yourself and Devi Sankari Govender,
Yes.
you accepted that indeed that was your signature.
Yes.
Now, that is what is referred to as a lie. Do you still contend that that signature there was indeed yours? And if indeed it was, why did you pretend not to know about it?
There is no signature of mine on any document for the prepayment of Optimum. There is no such a thing. So when David says to me, you prepaid Optimum 659 million rands, I said, no, I did not. When Parliament asked me, did you prepay Optimum 659 million rands? I said, no, I did not. Now, David sees where you are. He says, but this is your signature. And I look at it and says, well, let's say I made a mistake, but I've never prepaid. I've never prepaid Optimum.
So what was that signature authorizing, in effect?
The prepayment was to Tigeta. And for the first time, and if you looked at the Zondo Commission, what played there, for the first time, the people who get it is the Zondo Commission, because the Zondo Commission is following the evidence. The Zondo Commission makes a very big difference between Tigeta and Optimum. It's a very important legal difference.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants to confuse the two will end up in court to explain. I am glad that every forum that has looked to the so-called lie on TV have concluded that Mr. Koko did not lie. I can tell you now the Zondo Commission will conclude as such. The Parliamentary Commission has concluded as such. And therefore, all what I'm saying is, if anybody says, I gave my daughter a R1 billion contract at Eskom, we'll end up in court and we'll have to tell the judge, how on earth did Mr. Koko do that? You asked me if I knew the old lady. I did not know her. You asked me if I handpicked her randomly. No, I did not handpick her randomly. I got to a stage where I say, now that the Zondo Commission is in place, now I can hold everybody to account. Now that the truth is coming out and everybody has watched the Zondo Commission, they now know what actually happened. The rest has been noise. People who are making this noise, falsely so, have to be held to account. It cannot be.
So let's go back to Ms. Tenton then.
Yes.
I'm still confused about how it is that she is one of those that is in your sights for a defamation lawsuit. 500,000, that's a lot of money.
Because she's one of the few that I was very polite with her at the very beginning.
This was now your back and forth on social media?
Yes.
Okay.
I says, please, you are defaming me. Retract this. You are wrong. And she persisted. And she persisted. And she persisted. And I says, if you continue to persist, in spite of me giving you the opportunity to retract, then this matter will go far. And that's where it is.
Her lawyers in court argued that what you are essentially pursuing against her is what many powerful people do to not only shut up public critics, but also make sure that they destroy them financially. As we say, you are suing her for 500,000. In fact, the lawyers, they're saying that you are using what is commonly known as the strategic lawsuit against public participation. In short, the SLAP.
SLAP.
Yes. Is that indeed what you are engaged in?
No, it's not. It is not in dispute that she defamed me. It's not in dispute. And she can't get away with it. You can't say, yes, I've defamed you, and now that I can see that we are heading the direction I did not expect it to go, I will retract it, I will delete my Twitter account, and hope you get away with it.
All right. So, very quickly then on Ms. Tenton. Now, she's claiming costs against you, and what I'm gathering is that you have reportedly said via your lawyers that you are taking advice on whether or not to continue the pursuit of damages claims against Ms. Tenton. Are you having second thoughts about suing her?
No. We were in court. Okay. This matter is in court. We're waiting for a judgment. The judge made a very valid point that you don't use a motion proceedings for damages.
Okay.
You go to, I'm not a lawyer, so I may use wrong things, but where you anticipate a dispute of facts, you don't go through motion proceedings. That's what the judge says. The judge is making a very valid point. And that is why when we're there and having listened to the judge, he says, well, let's refer this matter to argument in a different court. There's no taking advice on that. It's a matter of when do we go there. What we're now saying to the court is Ms. Tenton has acknowledged that he defamed me. He's removed his Twitter account. He's deleted it. He must pay for my costs. Her lawyer says, but you should have reached this conclusion way back. So that's where the argument is, and the judge will make the decision on it.
If she apologizes, will you withdraw the lawsuit?
She has tendered to apologize. She has tendered to apologize, and that's what she told the judge. We should remember, we've been in court, and this is what your media colleagues that are calling a particular faction are dealing with, because it's no coincidence that she made headlines. She's dealing with a particular faction. The report does not say Ms. Tenton has tendered to apologize, has tendered to remove the tweet that is defamed. He has tendered to stay away from Twitter. That's what she tendered for.
All right. Okay. All right. Another person that we are going to talk about shortly after this short break is Sikonathi Mantshantsha. We all know him as the Eskom spokesperson, but in this instance, you want to pursue him for or in his capacity back when he was the deputy editor of the Financial Mail. But we'll have that discussion in a moment. We continue the conversation with Mr. Matshela Koko in a moment. Very good afternoon to you. You're watching Politics Unscripted. We are in conversation with the former CEO of Eskom, that's the power utility, Matshela Koko. He is in studio with me. Mr. Koko, before we went on a break, we were talking about the series of defamation lawsuits you are pursuing. One of the other people, very quickly, because there are other matters that we need to get to. The other person that you are claiming damages from, or you at least intend to claim damages against, is the former deputy editor of the Financial Mail, who now is spokesperson at Eskom, Sikonathi Mantshantsha. What's he alleged to have done?
I do not intend. The papers are in. I've searched him with papers. He responded. We responded. We're now busy with the heads of arguments.
So the matter is going to court?
The matter is going to court. Mr. Sikonathi Mantshantsha says, I have a bank account in Dubai. I stole money and I opened a bank account in Dubai. I've said to the court, here are my bank accounts. I have no bank account in Dubai. Mr. Mantshantsha defamed him. He must show the courts where is my bank account in Dubai. Mm-hmm. He got caught up in the Coco hunt. He was determined to get me out of Eskom with a lie. I do not have a bank account in Dubai. Mm-hmm. Mr. Mantshantsha says I've got 8 houses that I financed through corruption. In all my lives, I only had 3 properties, one I sold. I gave the court all my deed of sales, title deeds. These are my properties. I have no 8 properties. Mr. Mantshantsha must tell you where I got 8 houses.
Yeah.
So, you cannot have people who join, they decide, and we'll go to President Ramaphosa as well. They decide for political reasons, we don't like this guy. Mm-hmm. And we're going to lie our way out to get him displaced.
So you contend that Matshela Koko, the stories he wrote about were fabrications. Is that your contention?
And I'm saying to him, if they are not, show the court the evidence you've got.
How much are you suing him for?
He's got 600,000 coming his way. He's got 600,000 coming his way, and we will fight it out. I can tell you now, he lied. He will not be able to show the court that I have a bank account in Dubai. Mm-hmm. I can tell you now, he will not be able to show the court that I gave my daughter's company contracts worth 300 million rands. I can tell you now, he will not show the court that I have more than 8 houses. All that he did, he told the public to create an impression that this Matshela Koko guy is corrupt to the tip and has to go.
There aren't many defamation lawsuits, Mr. Koko, that have been successful that I can remember. Yeah. But that's not to say that others have not been won. If you combine the 2 cases, it's just over 1 million that you are suing, at least the 2 people that we know about, for. Are you optimistic about your chances of success on these 2 cases?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I can tell you now, Ms. Stanton will never do it again. And I can tell you now, Mr. Mantshantsha will never do it again. Whether I win in court or not, they will never do it again.
All right. It would seem that the intention is to basically slap these people down.
No, the intention is to say to them, you've hurt me. You've hurt me. And I will use the court to hold you accountable.
Let's talk about your job at Eskom. You still maintain that the manner in which you were forced to leave Eskom was unlawful. And
it's not me. is a court. There's a labor court judgment saying that.
All right.
So you need to be very, very clear.
Okay.
First, Mr. Ramaphosa does not dispute that he dismissed me from Eskom. His testimony at the Zondo Commission says so.
But he's not the only person.
But he says he's not the only person. Doesn't matter.
Why should it not matter? Because at the time that you were fired, it was not just his decision alone. In fact, it came from the very top, and it was 4 people, including himself. It was the president, it was the then minister of public enterprises, and there was another minister also seated in that meeting. That's what the president told the commission. So why is he the target?
Because I don't have the minutes of that. She did not volunteer to give the minutes, the Zondo Commission that.
Yeah.
So that's hearsay. All that I know is that my engagement came to me. This was from him. The document that was published came from him. That's all that I know.
And do you understand the pressures that he talks about that the country was under at the time, particularly Eskom, given the amount of money that that institution owes, not just lenders here in South Africa, but elsewhere, whom he says were threatening to call those loans and therefore basically plunging the sovereignty rating of the country at the time. So do you understand the pressure? So what are you saying that should have been done here? The choice would have been between the country's interests versus a few Eskom executives who at the time were alleged to be involved in corruption and wrongdoing.
Truly, I've never seen or heard such a nonsense. I've never heard ever in my life such hogwash. We are a constitutional democracy. No one, no investor would force the deputy president of any country to act unlawfully. I've never ever thought I would have an interview with a journalist who tries to persuade me or the public to accept that the deputy president of the republic had to act unconstitutionally because the financiers, who are his friends, says they will withdraw the bonds. I've never seen such a work of watch. No one is about... President Zuma is in jail now because he acted unconstitutionally. And we say because President Zuma defied the laws of the country, therefore he must suffer.
All right.
We have a very, very exaggerated sense of the rule of law, including you. Because you should be saying, how on earth would the president, the deputy president of the republic, act unlawfully for whatever reason? Let me tell you what the president would have done. The president should have said to the board, Eskom is a single threat to the sovereign.
Yeah.
The financiers are making this threat. Where is the... He should have said to the financiers, give me the evidence you've got. Take the evidence, go to the board and say, act on this evidence, suspend Mr. Koko. Based on the evidence from the financiers, suspend him, investigate him, and if there's a proper falsity case that Mr. Koko is corrupt, has done something wrong, charge him and dismiss him. That's what he should have done. That's what the rule of law expects from him. So,
in pursuit, therefore, of justice, what do you intend doing against the sitting president? Because at the time he acted in his capacity as deputy president.
I'm really looking forward to the report of Deputy Chief Justice Zondo because he has no other option. He has no other option but to conclude that the deputy president then acted unconstitutionally and unlawfully. The evidence before him says so. The labor court judgment says so.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fascinating that he walks into the Zondo Commission and he says, but I'm entitled to act. The labor court judgment that says he acted unconstitutionally is before the commission.
Yeah.
And the commission doesn't say, but Mr. President, what about this? So I'm looking forward to the judgment.
So your strategy is to wait for the Zondo Commission to put out its report, final report, and based on whatever outcome there is, what will then be your next course of action?
I will take counsel, but let me tell you, Mr. Ramaphosa will not get away with acting unlawfully. Will never get away with it.
Let me ask you this question. How dented is your reputation as a result of what has happened in your career?
First, I lost my job. That's one thing. And there's a consequences of losing a job. You lose income for a start. So that's the first part. But the second part is, whatever you try to do, you know, I have a lot of opportunities. I've got a lot of people I work with, I engage with. Eventually they come to me and say, Mr. Koko, you know, we've done our environmental sketch. We scan, we've talked. Actually, you are the person we want to work with. Based on the people we've interviewed, you are the person we want to work with. You know your work.
But unfortunately, your reputation precedes
you. But we've got this, Mr. Koko.
Yes.
And we don't want to just attract controversy. We've got a good name. Bringing you to be part of us is just going to attract unnecessary controversy.
Two questions in one as we close. One, do you want your Eskom job back? Is that part of the strategy, or is the pursuit to clear your name? Second of all, the reputation or reputational harm that you say you have suffered, what happens if the Zondo report comes back with even more damaging claims against you?
I don't want my job back from Eskom.
Okay.
I've done my public duty for Eskom. In the history of, since 2001, however you want to couch it, the best operation performance came under my watch. And I'm glad that even those who used to dispute it have swallowed their pride. And even Eskom could not go to the Zondo Commission to dispute my averments there, that the best performance of Eskom since 2001 was in my time. So that stands unopposed at the Zondo Commission. And the Zondo, the Deputy Chief Justice Zondo has no other option. But in the event that he concludes that there was state capture in Eskom, he would then have to deal with the fact that how is it possible that the best ever performance of Eskom since 2001 came during the time that he would have classified as a state capture. So I am not going back to Eskom. Please remind me your second question.
Second question was if the State Capture Commission
comes with worse findings.
Yes.
There were no, I went to the commission to assist the commission to get to the truth. I went there as a witness. I did not go there as an accused person or as a suspect. I cannot, quite frankly, if the, you know, there's a couple of things that has to happen for that to happen. The Deputy Chief Justice Zondo has to believe the credibility of Susan Daniels. He has to say, you know, Susan Daniels' version is truthful. He's never going to go there. He has to come in and say the version of Abraham Masango is truthful. He's never going to go there. So I think he's got many hoops
that he's got to jump through.
That he has to jump through.
All right.
To conclude that I have a case to answer. I've done my best, and I'm very happy that I went to the commission to help the commission to get to the truth. What is going to happen, and if I can say this shortly.
Yes.
You know, we've got a 3.8 million claim from SIU and Eskom. When you meet them, they are friends, you must ask them, hello, what's happening to that 3.8 million claim? Because Mr. Koko says, since you've given him papers, you've never come back to him.
Okay, all right, just to clarify, they're not my friends, but nonetheless, I will take the 8-something million claim. 3.8 million claim. All right. Matshela Koko, former CEO of Eskom, thank you very much for your time. I'm just going to ask you to sit still for the moment while I link to the short video. Well, that was my conversation with the former Eskom CEO. Hopefully, we're going to see him here again, hopefully post the publishing of the final State Capture Commission of Inquiry report. Hopefully you will have loved.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
I've never been shy of being held accountable.
Thank you,
everywhere, every time I get called to account for what I did, I do so with pleasure. I owe it to the public.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well.